Hello YouTube world, this is Sebastian with Spin Driving School. Today we are going to talk about merging and exiting on and off the highway. Now, believe it or not, the most common mistake people make is merging too slow. That's right, merging too slow. You should be merging at the same rate or faster as the traffic is moving or the speed of the highway. Obviously, sometimes the highway is going to be moving slower and faster. Here in Burnaby, Vancouver, we have pretty terrible traffic at times. So sometimes the highway is moving, at 120, and sometimes it's moving at 20 kilometers an hour, or sometimes it's not moving at all. So obviously that depends on the circumstances and the situation you find yourself in. But in the perfect situation, you should be merging at the same speed or faster than the flow of traffic. In an extreme situation, which has happened to me actually probably twice in my life, I had to come to a full stop, or I was merging really slow. It happens sometimes. Sometimes there's just no space. Sometimes there's just too many cars in the lane, and you have nowhere to go. And in that case, yeah, you have to stop on an on-ramp. It's still safer than moving in front of a moving vehicle, especially if it's a truck or something. You're not going to win that battle. But it's we're talking about extreme situations. You're always going to be better off obviously being and merging on the highway than staying in the merging lane, as long as the other option is obviously safer or not. Anyways, so we're going to take a look at a couple of these videos here. So we're going to go over a couple of things. So we're going to have a look at this picture here from ICBC. So yeah, obviously you cannot have two cars going at the same speed. So one has to go slower than the other, vice versa. So, either merge a little bit slower in this case, but accelerating obviously and getting in front of or ahead of the red car, and then going from there would be the ideal solution in that situation. So here we are merging onto the highway BC1 here in Burnaby, Willingdon Ave. Here's the 60K sign, so you have to go minimum 60 kilometers an hour. You can pause it and read that sign through if you want. And here we are about to get on. So I'm going here a little bit slower because at this point the traffic's going probably around 90-ish. So I'm going maybe around 85 here. I'm just going to get behind this vehicle here. I'm going to stay in this lane, and then when I have a safe gap, I will move over. I don't like driving in the right lane, and you shouldn't either. I mean, sure, if you're scared, if you're a new driver, etc., yes, but for the most part, the right lane it can be very dangerous, so I try to avoid it, and I usually drive in the center lane, and I'm talking about center, not including the HWY lane, or the left lane, for passing, obviously, as I'm going to pass this truck here. Here we go. And then when I have a safe gap, I'm going to move over back into the center lane. I'm going to keep the right lane clear for the cars entering onto the highway from the on-ramp. So I always keep the right lane clear. If I'm in the right lane, I always try to move over before every entry point. That way that lane is always clear, because it's always safer for me and it's always safer for the other drivers. And that's probably the best practice and the best way to do it. If you absolutely want to and must drive in the right lane all the time, that's fine, but it can be dangerous for sure for both parties, and that's a very easily avoidable accident if you just simply move over, and then you can always come back into the right lane after every exit or entry point, what have you. If you're just taking one quick exit on and off, sure, stay in the right lane. But if you actually are going somewhere, stay in the middle or left lane. Or here we go, this car's passing me. That's a beautiful safe gap, 2 to 3 car lengths minimum at those speeds. If you're going slower, sure, you can probably risk taking a smaller gap for those lane changes, but give yourself lots of space obviously depending on the weather and road conditions as well. So that is always going to be important. Just moving along here. And yeah, we are going to have another entry point coming up here. So I always, keep an eye for cars moving onto the highway, merging onto the highway. So that way I can, I can give myself and them as much space as possible. I'm always looking into my mirrors, every few seconds, constantly observing. I want to have a 360-degree field of view, or at least gather as much information as possible so that I know what's going on in front of me and around me. Don't be one of those drivers that just, stuck in this tunnel vision, only looking straight forward. Use your mirrors. That's what they're for. Keep an eye at what's going on behind you and what the traffic is like behind you. What are you doing? How are the cars reacting to what are you doing? Maybe you're doing something wrong. Here we go. Just moving right along, and we are going to take this next exit. So exit, slow down after exiting, not before. There we go. We're exiting at the same rate as the flow of traffic, or at the same speed. And we're just going to pause here for a second. This sign right there, the 50, it's miles, but it should be kilometers. That is just a suggestion. It doesn't mean that you have to go that speed limit. So if you want, again, that's fine in some extreme weather conditions for sure. But if you have a nice long ramp, there's no need to be slamming on your brakes and slowing down to 50. That is not a regulatory sign. That is just a suggestion. So take it as what it is. Yeah, usually most ramps have enough space to slow down. Some of them can be short, yes, but here's another one. I think this is the last video. Just a quick merge. Downhill, and there it is, back view. So I have a nice safe gap. Obviously I'm shoulder checking, constantly checking my mirrors right before merging. Once I have a safe gap, I move over gradually and lightly. I accelerate into my lane changes pretty much all the time. Obviously in some cases, like probably in this case, I was just moving at the same speed because there's a vehicle in front of me, so you don't want to accelerate too much. So be careful how you treat that recommendation. There we go, another lane change, just staying in this lane, and that's it. So hopefully that helps. Keep tuned for more videos in the future, and keep supporting my page. Take care.